Welcome back to another episode of Raul's World of Synths. I am Raul. Today we're going to be finishing up the A102 Diode Low-Pass Filter series. In the last two, we've kind of been just listening to different types of low-pass filters side by side with the A102 Diode Low-Pass. In the first series of video, we actually looked at the A121 and the A120 side by side with the A102. And then in the second one, we listened to the A101-2 Vector Low-Pass Gate and the WAS filter. So this time, we're going to be focusing our attention on these two guys over here, the A125 Phase Shifter, which I'm just kind of throwing in because I recently did a series on this one, and the A106-1 Xtreme filter. Note on this one's actually modeled after the MS20 type filter. For those of you who are interested in it, it's got a 12 decibel per octave low pass filter and a 6 decibel per octave high pass filter. Some other sort of unique things about this, we're just going to be listening to the the low pass section of this, but some of the things that it does that are fairly unique compared to some of the other filters that we're listening to in this series. Is it's got these two sort of clipping controls. So if you wanted to, you can actually clip the low pass without clipping the high pass, or vice versa. It's also got some nice little polarity, I believe. Yeah. Let's see, polarity, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Okay, right here. You can actually set the polarity of your CV input, so that's fairly unique as well. I just wanted to bring that up, as well as resonance inserts, which can allow you for some interesting sort of feedback in a filter. Anyway, I don't want to get too off topic here, but very interesting filter to say the least. So let's hear the diode again, just to get that sound back in our ears. And let's bring up the cutoff. Bring the resonance down a little bit. Now that we have that in our ears, we bring this down. And now let's get our sound going over to our A106. So here we go, taking the multiple out, going over to the input, which in this one is right here. It's actually got two individual inputs for each of the filter types. So I'm going to go into the low pass. There we go. And then let me take an output from there and go over to our mixer so we can hear this. So here we go. Let's bring up the cutoff. Now you should immediately hear something a little different. The character of this filter is definitely different compared to a few of the others that we've listened to. Primarily, I think you remember that the A101-2 down here was actually a 12 decibel per octave filter, but compared to this one, does not sound anywhere near the same type character. But both are cutting off, high frequencies. So just adjusting the cutoff there, doing a little experimenting. Now let's bring up the resonance a little bit. Now you hear something a little bit different this time around. The resonance actually sounds a little different, you might be saying to yourself. Well, that's because this filter does go into self-oscillation as well, but when it does, it actually produces small pulse waves in that range. So that's one of the things that sort of distinguishes this particular filter, is its ability to do that when it's in self-oscillation. kind of interesting sounds right there. Adjusting the clipping a little bit. So as you can hear, this one definitely has its own style. Actually, it seems a little more difficult to actually dial in a similar sound as what I had over my diode. So let me turn this all the way down. Just turn the cutoff completely off. Oh, for the most part. I think I might have to actually unpatch that one. All right, so let me go back to my diode filter. Cut off down again, and then we'll bring up the A106 again. Okay, so there you go. Definitely a different type style with the A106-1 Xtreme filter. And again, not advocating one over another, just wanted to kind of show that despite the fact that some of these all share the same characteristic of saying low-pass filter, low-pass filter, low-pass filter. This one's actually a low-pass filter too, although it just says WAP filter. Down at the bottom, of course, we listen to the low-pass filter, low-pass filter. Each one has their own unique sort of character or style, or however you want to distinguish it. Find which one you like and kind of go with it. Before I got into the sort of whole modular thing, I was kind of like, well, why are all these filters, you know, are they really going to sound that different? And lo and behold, yes, they actually do sound that different. So if you want to change up your sound a little bit, maybe change your filter, or get a new filter, or get a second filter, or a third filter, on and on and on. So let me unpatch that before I go on another vocal tirade. And let me unpatch this guy, because now we're going to listen to the phase shifter. And this one, again, is not necessarily or technically a low-pass filter, but it's a comb filter. So we're going to listen to it anyway. Here we go. Patch again. And then we're going to patch out. And then go over to our mixer. Here we go. So this one, I think it's going to be pretty evident that, let me turn this down a little bit, it's not going to sound anywhere near what our diode filter sounded like. Yeah, and when I adjust the cutoff, I mean, so this has actually just one cutoff, and nature of a comb filter, you know, if you remember, you know, kind of looks like teeth of a comb. So you're actually sort of filtering in several different points, and actually certain filters are getting, or sorry, certain frequencies are actually just getting cut out of the frequency spectrum, and that's what that sound is as you're sort of moving across here at the shift. But definitely a worthwhile sound too. So I'm going to unpatch that, and I think that's going to actually bring us to a close. It's been kind of an exciting series. We've kind of gone through a lot of different things. We started out intro and basics kind of stuff, talking about the basic features on this filter, inputs, all the controls, etc. Jumped into sort of a little investigation that I did as using this as a sine wave oscillator, and then did a little bit of basic filtering after that, and then jumped in and did a little bit of modulation. And then these last 3 videos, as hopefully if you were with us, you kind of got to hear that not all low-pass filters necessarily sound the same. And one filter comes to mind that I haven't ever done a series on, but I might like to do sometime down the road, and that's the expander filter. That one has a lot of filter types on it. Very much would like to do that one down the road sometime. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hopefully you enjoyed this series as a whole and you got something useful out of it. I do encourage you, if you're curious, to hear some of these filters and understand them in a little bit more depth, to go back and check out the series on the A106-1 Xtreme filter. Check out the series on the A125, the A120, the A124. Maybe go back and watch the A102s again if you really like that one. The A121 down here. I think I did a couple of videos on that one too. And then the A101-2. I think that was back from my early days of Raul's World of Synths a few years ago. But hopefully you found this overall useful. At any rate, please leave your feedback. And then as far as the special camera that we had set up, I know I didn't really call any attention to it this time around. It's kind of waiting in the wings down there. It was just there, kind of watching this patch. But I think with some level of certainty, sort of guarantee that this camera will be coming back down the road. So if you have any feedback for me about the video itself or anything else, or if you just want to share something, I'm always open to communications from you guys. Contact me via YouTube or via my website. Not sure what we're going to do in the next segment, but I think I have an idea. Keep it for a surprise. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. Quit while I'm ahead, so to speak. But keep on patching out there. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.